welcome to this week's edition of the Bond Room Unlocked, whereby I'll be inviting you to turn the key with me on my 26-year-old Bond collection and the 1971 film Diamonds Are Forever.
Hi there, Vicky. How are you doing today?
I'm really well, thank you, Brian. And how is it with you?
Oh, we're doing just fine out here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm really excited to talk about the film today.
And we are so looking forward to your thoughts, Brian, on this campy Bond caper. Where does Diamonds Are Forever rank with you?
When it comes to my personal ranking of Diamonds Are Forever, well, it depends on context. When it comes to the overall series, I rank it relatively middle of the road. Sean Connery looks a lot older, a bit more tired, and kind of slugs his way through the role a bit. There's still some great action sequences, but for the most part, it's not as bombastic and exciting as it formerly was. Charles Gray's Blofeld seems a bit too campy compared to the previous interpretations of the character, which featured more sinister and evil-minded characters. Also, the diamond plot with space lasers gets a bit too far-fetched. Personally, though, I love this film. It has a tremendous rewatchability factor, and the soundtrack will get stuck in your head for hours. Shirley Bassey's theme is outstanding, and the showcases of Las Vegas back in the time frame of the early 70s is a great choice for setting. Jill St. John plays a sassy Bond girl in Tiffany Case, and Lana Wood's Plenty O'Toole is a good tease for Bond, as well as providing one of my favorite jokes in the entire series.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
Would you like some help? On the craps, I mean.
It's very kind of you.
This entry also holds a personal treasure of mine, as James Bond takes a spin in Peter Frank's Triumph Stag, a car that my father once owned while I was growing up.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned cars, because this film has my third favourite car in the Bond franchise, in the form of the Ford Mustang Mach-1. It's a great choice of vehicle to drive around the glitzy, glamorous roads of 70s Las Vegas. Most likely a rental car obtained by Bond girl Tiffany Case, who is another eye-catching redhead. Or is that blonde? Or it could be brunette.
Check, it wasn't Van Cleef and Arpels. Weren't you blonde when I came in?
Could be.
I tend to notice little things like that, whether a girl is a blonde or a brunette.
And which do you prefer?
Oh, providing the collars and cuffs match.
We'll talk about that later. Let me have your glass. I'll get you some ice.
One thing that Diamonds Are Forever has is that it has some of the best one-liners, and that was just an example of one of the very best. Now, some fans see this particular film as the carry-on of Bond films. Now, for those of you who are not aware of the carry-on films, they were a series of British films consisting of 31 in all, and it ranged from 1958 to 1992, and the films relied heavily on British seaside postcard humour. It was very tongue-in-cheek, not to be taken too seriously, and this can be said of Diamonds Are Forever. It's a product of its time.
When it comes to Diamonds Are Forever, Sean Connery made his long-awaited return to the role that made him famous following George Lazenby's single outing as Agent 007. It came at a pretty hefty price tag though, $1.25 million, and several concessions from the producers, including the funding of 2 films of his choice. This made Sean Connery the highest paid actor in 1971. Still, it seemed like a win all the way around, as financially, the film was a smash success, grossing $116 million on a $7.2 million budget. During its initial run, the film was heralded as a return to form and a step forward for the series. Over time, however, it's been sort of a mixed bag, as Sean seems aged and a little bored in the role, and it doesn't have the full effect of his prime years as 007.
Brian, well, Tiffany Case wouldn't agree with you there. When Bond is incognito as Peter Franks, he seduces Tiffany Case, and he undresses in front of her, and she adds, "Why, Peter, there's much more to you than I imagined." Well, need I say any more? As for Sean looking older, yes, he does. He seems to have aged in the intervening years since 1967's You Only Live Twice. However, he still delivers the essential lines. He still has that animal magnetism which won him the role in the early 60s, and you still believe he could kill you with a single shot, because it's Sean Connery.
Diamonds Are Forever remains a huge pop cultural influence, with the name, the memorable characters that it produced, and the Las Vegas setting. The title has been spoofed numerous times by replacing the word diamonds and replacing it with different nouns pertaining to respective episodes of various TV shows. The combination duo of Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd has popped up in several spoofs over the years, most notably for their speech patterns and their implied homosexual relationship with one another, which, although more taboo at the time, has become more groundbreaking as the years have gone by.
Lufthansa announced the departure of their flight number LH450 to Los Angeles. Will you please fasten seatbelts and no smoking until airborne? Thank you.
They're both aboard. I must say, Miss Kay seems quite attractive. For a lady.
Las Vegas is known for its shows, flashy lights, gambling, and other extravagance. It seemed to fit well for the 1970s Guy Hamilton films in the series that featured out-of-this-world plots, more far-fetched situations, and other things that would seem out of character for a serious spy film. His style was more in line with comic books.
I love the Las Vegas setting, and I agree with you, Brian. I think it's perfect for the film with its 1970s feel. Glitzy, glamorous, over the top, just perfect, and that's why I think the Ford Mustang Mach-1 is the perfect car for this film. Now, of course, Tiffany Case obtained this car, only the best for her, with its red exterior and its black and red interior. Very eye-catching. And of course, the Mustang is also the subject of one of the biggest goofs within the Bond franchise.
I got you now.
Lean over.
Now, it is said that two different stunt teams performed the two-wheel stunt at different times, hence the continuity error. Now, we see Tiffany and Sean in the car and it tips from one side to the other. This was done in the studio as a correction. Do you think this should have been done? Do you think it should have been left, and would we have even noticed? It would be great to know what you think about this scene. Of course, Mustangs have featured in many films over the years, not just Bond, although there are two other Mustangs that appear in earlier Bond films. Now, it's said that Ford had agreed for Goldfinger to debut a gold Mustang fastback, but the film moved on so quickly through its production that Ford were not ready, and they had to issue a cream white Mustang convertible instead, which is the one that we see Tilly Masterson drive. A gold one would have been fitting for the film, surely. And we do see another Mustang convertible, in blue this time, driven by Fiona Volpe. the item I want to share with you from my collection is this carded model of the Ford Mustang Mach-1. It was issued in 1999 by Corgi and it featured another 9 cars within the set. It is a blister pack, so you've got the card with the car attached to it, and it also includes a collector's card set which features details about the film. On the reverse of the packet you have the other 9 cars in the collection, which feature the Toyota 2000 GT, which is one of my favourite cars, of course the Aston Martin DB5, and you've got the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me, and it just details a little bit about the cars of James Bond and how recognisable the models are for over the last 40 years from when this was issued. So yes, it's a nice set and it's one worth looking out for.
Guy Hamilton returns for his second James Bond film as director. While his original film Goldfinger is widely regarded as the fan favorite of the film series, Diamonds Are Forever begins a series of campier 007 films that almost pulled it too far away from the original material. While a good bit of people consider the early 70s as a weaker point in Bond history, these films still feature memorable moments and stunning locations. Diamonds Are Forever was originally going to feature Goldfinger's twin brother as the villain, which made sense to bring back the original film's director and the title song singer Shirley Bassey in hopes of finding repeat glory. The plot was changed after Cubby Broccoli had a dream that his friend Howard Hughes was replaced by an imposter. While the film was a huge success right out of the gate, it never met the success of Goldfinger and began a slump of the series. This resulted in Hamilton's dismissal from the series in favor of Lewis Gilbert for 1977's The Spy Who Loved Me.
So the purpose of this channel is to take the items in this Bond room and relate them to the films that we know and love. If you have enjoyed this Diamonds Are Forever episode, then please give it an MI6 stamp of approval and click on the notifications below. Why not subscribe so you don't miss any further missions? You can find me on Facebook and on Instagram. Just search for the Bond Room Unlocked and you'll find loads of extra content there. You can also find me co-hosting with Tom Pizzato and Dan Silvestri at spymovienavigator.com, cracking the code of spy movies, so check out those podcasts too. My thanks go to Bryan for his analysis on this 1971 film. It has been a blast, and I'd like to thank you for joining me at the Bond Room Unlocked. Till next time.